Hello, everyone. This is Dan Gramza, and welcome to dangramza.com Market Studies for Monday, October 13th. Well, what do we see here in the S&P 500? We see volatility. Trump proposed a potential large tariff on China because of its control over rare earth elements. I have to tell you, that is a huge deal. Rare earth elements we use in everything from our cell phone to a fighter jet. A fighter jet uses 600 pounds of rare earth elements. So it's critical in terms of our society as we know it today from an electronic point of view. China controls about 90% of that. Also, they control the processing of rare earth elements. So we haven't heard the last of this. And the potential impact is huge, not just for the United States, but globally. Now, let's talk about Friday's action. We had some volatility as the market fell out of bed. The dollar difference here between that sell and buy level happened previously. That's $1,100 a contract. And we can see here the buy level's been lowered to represent the action that we're seeing here. In terms of the expected movement on Monday, is this reality that we're looking at? No, this is a possible action that may be taken. So this is a market that's moving on anticipation. And I don't expect another behavior like this on Monday or Tuesday or next week unless we get something new to justify that type of action. So what are we looking for? I'm looking for an inside to slightly lower movement in this market. Well, what about the other indices? How did they behave? You can see in the Dow. Let's go to the Nasdaq. The Dow, excuse me, the Nasdaq fell out of bed as well. That broke lower, and the dollar difference, this buy to that sell level, is $1,820 a contract. Again, inside the day is what's expected on Monday. If we look at what's happening in the Dow, over in the Dow, it traded above its buy level. That dollar difference is $405 a contract. Looking for an inside day again for that market. The Russell, what's interesting about this is it's not as bearish as the other markets, but it still has an impact here in that market. Dollar difference, this buy to that sell level, again, just to give you a reference, is $1,500 a contract. Let's talk about currencies. And what do we see here in the euro? It also, after falling out of bed during the week, it gained some strength. So the US dollar was weaker with this volatility that came out. The dollar difference from the sell to buy level is $1,150 a contract. Again, not looking for a big move. We have an equal and opposite in the Swissy. The dollar difference sell to buy level in that market's $1,387.50. Well, what about Mr. Yen? It traded above its buy level. Dollar difference sell to buy level, $2,625 a contract. I do look for an update in that market, but the Aussie dollar, it just got weaker. These other currencies got stronger. Look for an inside day in this market as well. You can't tell, but this did trade above its buy level, and it failed as it fell out of bed. Dollar difference here in that market is $160 a contract. Now, in the British pound, it traded above its buy level. Dollar difference there is 5,400. No, it's not. It's $543.75. And I'm looking for a sideways move in that market. let's check out what's happening Canadian dollar. It traded above its buy level and it closed below its buy level. So it's underwater on the close. $140 is the dollar difference from that sell down to that buy level. Well, when we look at what's going on in Bitcoin, what an interesting market. You can't see it really well, but it did trade by a tick or two above that buy level. And the dollar difference here in that market is $600 a contract. Previous to that, this dollar difference in that market was $11,000 a contract from this buy to that sell level. But let's move on and let's see what's happening in the 10-year notes. Yields came down as price moved higher. That's what it should be doing. Dollar difference sell to buy level is $218.75 over in the bond market. That dollar difference there is $375 a contract. Between the solid sell to that buy level, it traded just a bit below the sell level, a tick or two. And that failed. The sell side failed as the market rallied. That dollar difference was $125 a contract. Gold. Now, shouldn't gold be taking off to the upside with uncertainty? That's not what we're seeing here. Dollar difference, that buy to sell level right here, $800 a contract. From this buy level to that sell level is $11,000 a contract. Well, what about silver? Silver sideways move is what we're looking for. Dollar difference here in that market, buy to sell level, $250 a contract. Copper falls out of bed. It may have an impact on global demand. Remember, China consumes about 50% of the global supply of copper. Dollar difference here between that buy and sell level, $250 a contract. And the dollar difference from this buy level to that sell level is $5,250 a contract. I'm looking for an inside day on Monday. Check out crude oil. It fell out a bit. We have a lot of crude oil, though, globally. And the dollar difference here, that buy to sell level, $630 a contract. Nat gas, the same issue. We got a lot of nat gas. So I think that behavior that you're seeing makes sense. And I look for further movement to the downside. Beans also, the harvest that we're seeing so far really doesn't look too bad. And the same thing is true for corn. So we are seeing weakness here. I think it makes sense until we get more news about harvest. Wheat globally looks positive, and so this behavior makes sense too. That dollar difference, again, if you were a buyer here, that's what that says. It failed as the market broke to the downside. Dollar difference there is $150 a contract. Look for a small range day on Monday. Well, those are my thoughts for today. I hope you found something helpful. Look forward to being with you again next week. And in the meantime, take care.